Hey guys, and welcome to this freehand Salamander cloak on a Primaris Librarian. The first step is to prime the whole model with Chaos Black and then base coat it with Abaddon Black. Abaddon Black gives a more matte finish than Chaos Black. Now it's time to paint the actual frame of the scales on the cloak. Here the idea is to paint round shapes surrounded by smaller round shapes, and I just painted them pretty randomly actually. If it's possible, try to paint the round shapes as close to each other as possible. This makes them look more like scales. I recommend adding a lot of water to the corn red mix as it's easier to redo if you make any mistakes. And trust me, I made a lot of mistakes. So this just makes it easier to redo. Now that we painted up the corn red round shapes, it's time to create some contrast and depth in the scales. Use the corn red mix from before, but add some Abaddon Black to the mix. A 2-to-1 mix of corn red and Abaddon Black is fine. Now start to fill in the center of the scales with this mix and try to avoid the edges of the scales. I recommend doing 2 layers of this. To create a bit more depth in the scales, I added a bit more Abaddon Black to the previous mix, now only focusing on the very top of the center of the scales. 1 layer is fine. We now have the depth that we want in the scales. It's now time to highlight the actual scales. And here we start to highlight all the way around the scales with vermilion from Vallejo. I added one layer of vermilion around the scale and furthermore one layer focusing on the upper half of the scale. Now that we have the first highlight of the scales, it's time to make a further highlight focusing on the upper half of the scales. This is what makes the scale seem more shiny. So add 2 layers of Wild Rider Red, only focusing on the upper half of the scales. Now there's only one step left to do. Make a 2-to-1 mix of Wild Rider Red and White from Vallejo and make an extreme highlight on the very tip of the scales. This is the last touch that makes the scale really pop. And now it's actually done. If you want to highlight the actual edges of the cloak and his hoodie, I did the same previous steps as before, only including the red colors. Let me know if you have any further questions, and I really hope you found this useful. Have a great day.